If you're looking to beat the revamped inverted Spire Grandmaster Strike with easy to assemble loadouts that absolutely everyone has and easy to execute strategies that absolutely everyone can do, then you came to the right place. Holy, 100 gifted sub bomb in the middle of recording a guide. We're gonna roll with it because we do all these guides in one take. Everybody knows the rules. Step 1 of this strike, I'm gonna show you the modifiers that we're working with. Step 2, I'm gonna show you the loadouts that you're gonna want to run for each individual class. And step 3, I'm gonna show you exactly how to play the strike to absolute perfection, where to stand for each section, how to play each section, so that you can get through nice and flawlessly. It is significantly different than it used to be, a lot harder than it used to be, but with these strategies, you'll be able to get through just fine. Massive shout out to reporting for Hootie, by the way, in the live stream, twitch.tv/Mactics, where we film all these live. Dropping a 100 gifted sub bomb in the middle of the Grandmaster Nightfall guide. That's absolutely spectacular. Looking at the modifiers for this strike, this week we have gotten Arc and Stasis Surge, a overcharged shotgun modifier, which we're not really going to worry about whatsoever, our standard overcharged weapons, so that any weapon that we're using that has an active artifact mod active for it is going to have a 25% weapon damage buff, obviously not stacking with the surges or the overcharged shotgun. And for this strike in particular, the new modifier on it that's going to change things up significantly is going to be the haste modifier, where basically if you're standing still for too long, 3 seconds specifically, you're going to start to take small ticks of damage over time. Not too terrible of a modifier to deal with. This is basically the just make sure you're always moving modifier. I'll show you some ways as well that you can kind of cheese this modifier to a certain degree while still being able to kind of play in the back of the map, plink away with long-range weapons and be safe. Looking at loadouts for this strike, you have 2 weapon options in my opinion. Weapon option number 1 is the one that I'm currently displaying, and it goes Wither Horde in the kinetic slot. Since this strike is barrier and overload champions, Wither Horde is a fantastic option for the overload side of things, and generally speaking, just very, very strong for dealing with any tanky targets, champions, bosses, things of that nature. And with the overload breach-loaded grenade launcher and overcharged weapons, we're going to get a 25% weapon damage boost with Wither Horde as well. This just makes it super. You can stick an overload Minotaur and it'll permanently stun and it'll permanently stop its health regeneration because of the recurring ticks of damage. Always applying overload. Feels really, really solid. Slot number 2, any scout rifle. I do recommend a Void or Arc scout rifle for the shields that are in this strike, but you don't have to worry about aligning the scout rifle to one of the weekly surges, because with overcharged weapons, since you'll have anti-barrier scout rifle on to deal with the anti-barrier champions, you already get the 25% weapon damage buff. Doesn't stack with the surges, so you don't need to worry about specifically using an Arc or Stasis one. Any element is fine. I do, however, recommend Void or Arc, though, because of the Harpy Arc shields or the Minotaur Void shields. In the heavy slot, I recommend any burst DPS weapon, so a grenade launcher or a rocket launcher, and this one you will want to make sure matches with a weekly surge, either Arc or Stasis. As far as Hunter specifics go, Omnioculus Hunter goes a massive, massive, massive way here. It really does a lot of work for guaranteeing that you never wipe, especially in the boss room. It allows you to skip a couple of sections that are rather dangerous. It's the standard setup that we always run: high mobility, high resilience, and high discipline, obscurity, starvation, persistence, and then I go dilation just for the mobility boost, trapper's ambush, and vanishing step, vortex grenade, or if you prefer, you can go scatter grenade, gambler's dodge, and I like the deadfall tether. Here's the mod setup right over here. Important stuff to look at. We've got the Void Siphon and the Harmonic Loader for the energy match for our scout rifle. I've got a scavenger to match my heavy weapon, and then the standard heavy ammo finder scouts, focusing strike, bolstering detonation, concussive dampener, and double arc resistance. There's a lot of arc damage in this GM. Absolution Innervation, and then Reaper Powerful Attraction Bomber, the standard Hunter setup. As far as artifact mods, the only ones that really matter, since we're using Wither Horde, we are going to want to run Concussive Reload, so that our Wither Horde shots are going to weaken tankier targets as well. But other than that, overloaded breach-loaded grenade launcher and anti-barrier scout rifle, all that are really going to matter. If you are coming along with a Warlock, which TJ is coming along with, standard Speaker's Sight, Solar, Well of Radiance, Healing Grenade, Healing Turret setup, Hellion, and Touch of Flame, along with Ember of Benevolence. You guys have seen this a million times before. Probably the best loadout to run for Grandmaster Nightfall is this entire episode. Very, very strong. And a way to kind of counteract the haste modifier, because if you permanently have restoration and a healing rift and things of that nature, Or you could run Phoenix Dive if you'd like. It's very easy to basically pretend like the haste modifier doesn't exist and you can stand still in the Well of Radiance or stand still with Restoration, and it doesn't really matter. He is also displaying weapon loadout option number 2 that you could run, where he's still got the arc/stasis grenade/rocket launcher. Or instead of going Wither Horde with a anti-barrier scout, you can go the Wish Ender, which has built-in anti-barrier, always very, very strong, with a energy grenade launcher. If you have the new Denial VS Velocity Baton from the new dungeon with void damage, again, even though this doesn't align with the weekly surges, it doesn't matter because you have overloaded grenade launcher on, so it automatically gets the 25% buff. This thing is really, really nice. Also with concussive reload, can also weaken all the champions and things of that nature. Feels really, really solid. Can stun both champions with this, and you have exceptional range as well with the Wish Ender. For the Titans, Dusty is running the typical Knockout Consecration, Shackle Grenade, and Frenzy Blade. Even though there's no unstoppable champions in the strike, Shackle Grenade is still awesome. He's got Dawn, Blessing, Balance, Awakening, and Courage. If you want to, you can try and slot Solitude in there somewhere if you'd like to get the Sever on enemy champions, cut their damage by 40%. Probably going to be really, really, really good for the boss as well. I would actually encourage you to try to find somewhere to get Solitude in this, because if you hit multiple precision hits on the final boss, you sever him, cuts his damage almost in half, which is really, really nice. Rocking with Thunder Crash as well, thanks to the Arc Surge this week. And then on his exotic class item, he's got Inmost Light Syntheseps. You can run literally whatever you want. If you don't have an exotic class item, I would urge you towards probably Couriers of the Falling Star to align with the Thunder Crash for more burst capabilities. You also notice he is running Wish Ender, Velocity Baton, and Inhibitor. And what's nice about this situation too is because another aspect of overcharged weapons is the fact that kinetic weapons do increase damage when your super element matches an active surge. Since we have Arc Surge and Dusty is running an Arc Super, that means his Wish Ender is going to deal 25% bonus damage. So all the nicer reason to run that loadout. So we're going to go ahead and get into the strike. I'm going to show you exactly how to play it. I got a lot of cool tips for you guys, a lot of cool tips and tricks that are going to make this bad boy not too bad. So we're going to rock and roll, and I'm going to show you how to beat the brand new revamped Grandmaster Inverted Spire. And if you need teammates to play with, you got 2 options, as always. Option number 1, description down below, is my Discord server. We got an LFG channel in there, which is fantastic because everyone else that you team up with in that LFG channel will probably have also seen this video, so is also going to have really good loadouts, know all the strategies, all that jazz. It's not going to be as hit or miss as typical LFG. You'll be balling out with members of the community, the Mactics community, that also know exactly how to play this. Option number 2 is our Twitch stream, twitch.tv/Mactics. We do GM carries all the time. So hop into the stream. Maybe you can rock and roll play with me. So we're loading in, very beginning of the strike, very different. We're not going over there anymore. We're actually coming over to this right side. We're going to have 3 overload Minotaurs. And so I'm just going to try and plop a Wither Horde onto that one. Wither Horde's going to auto-load in the background thanks to the Catalyst. I'm then going to stick the Minotaur with another Wither Horde. Do recurring damage. Stop him from healing entirely. Does a sizable chunk of damage. And there's one of them dead. We have another overload Minotaur over to the right side. But we're just kind of hanging back, chipping away, killing all the trash mobs, killing all the goblins, all that good stuff. Working our way through everything. And the number one thing that you're going to want to get into the habit of with this strike is just always being on the move. Even if you're plinking away at enemies from very, very far away, just kind of strafe back and forth. Hit the wiggle technique. Do a little something like this, just to make sure that you're always moving and you're not going to start taking damage from that haste modifier. You'll notice if I stand still at the top of my screen, I get the danger keep moving, 3-second timer. Once that gets down, I get short circuiting. The damage is not that crazy. You get plenty of time, and you can very audibly hear it, listen what's going on and whatnot. But you still want to, try to avoid it altogether if you can. For this section, you can actually, a lot of people are going to be compelled to run into the middle of this Vex Lake. What I actually recommend is just have your Invis Hunter run in here. You can actually keep your other 2 teammates way back on the beach side, or they can get a little saucy and get up on that high ground right over there. Particular movie from my childhood taught me the merits of high ground. And all you really need to worry about right here is killing the 2 Hydras that are going to spawn. You can honestly ignore all of the other enemies, and the Hydras will be marked as well. So as the Invis Hunter, I'm feeling okay to kind of roam around in here. I know I'm pretty darn safe, and nothing's going to kill me, as long as I remain invisible and all that good stuff. So I'm just going to roam around. We're just going to focus on killing the Hydras. Once you kill one of the Hydras, the other ones should spawn. They always spawn on that platform and that platform. I'm trying to not die right now. These Minotaurs do not like me. And then once both of the Hydras are dead, my teammates up there are taking care of them, you're going to have these 4 boxes to shoot. As you can see on the left side of my screen, lens is destroyed. All you have to do is shoot those 4 boxes. They're immune when they first spawn in, but killing the left side Hydra makes the left 2 boxes damageable, and killing the right side Hydra makes the right 2 boxes damageable. So all you have to do is kill both those Hydras. That allows you to damage all 4 of the boxes. You kill all 4 of the boxes, and then every single enemy despawns, and you can move on to the next section. So you don't have to worry about killing all those Harpies and Minotaurs and Goblins and whatnot. And no champions spawn during that area either, so you don't have to worry about losing Platinum or anything like that. Once you're done with that section, we got a small little jumping area as we make our way to this portal. And after we come through this portal, there's going to be 2 barrier hobgoblins and 2 cyclopses. Cyclopses being the void snipers. So step number 1, take care of the cyclopses. You'll notice I'm kind of hugging this right side wall because the other cyclops is right here. So make sure you smoke these cyclopses before you worry about anything else, because they will absolutely obliterate you. Notice how I'm continuously just kind of moving around, moving back and forth while I flank away with my scout rifle to avoid that haste damage modifier. So we're just going to chip away, chip away, chip away, moving back and forth. Slowly but surely, take him out. I see a couple goblins trying to push up a little bit too. Maybe sneak a Wither Horde in there. As the Invis Hunter as well, you can push up and be a little bit more aggressive with your Wither Horde. Thanks to the fact that you can just go Invis if you get into a tricky situation. Plink away, plink away, plink away. And easy as that, done with that section. Through the portal we go. This area you want to be very careful of, because as you round the corner, you're going to have a bunch of those detain harpy babies, whatever you call them, and right around the corner you're going to have a bunch of supplicants. So I think the Bungie design idea here was a bunch of these dudes to trap you, plus a bunch of supplicants to come and blow you up once you get trapped. So treat that corner nice and gently. This first set of lasers, you can just crouch right under them. This set, you can jump in the middle and then hop over. And then this set, just wait, and they alternate. So you just wait until there's a gap between 2 of them. It's going to be a tiny gap, but you can get on through. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to make it. Oh, I just made it. Barely. Top of this platform, barrier hobgoblin from a distance. You just chip away at him. Stay on the move so you don't get that short circuiting. And then you got a pack of enemies and another barrier hobgoblin right underneath you. Plink, 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 plink. Another nice thing too, anti-barrier weapons, when the hobgoblins are in that fire mode where they like go immune and do the healing, anti-barrier weapons can hit through that, so you can continue to damage them. Overload Minotaur, so we're going to try and lob a Wither Horde at his feet. Looks like we're good, so he's going to not heal anymore. And the absolute best place to stand for this section is right here on this ledge where I am. Make sure to kill that explosive box right there. But this section where I'm at, this high ground, is immaculate for this area. Then going to come to this ledge a little bit. Take out both of these hobgoblin snipers. I actually want to avoid shooting that for now. My teammate might blow it up, though. Honestly, the timing on that is fine. You want to wait to blow up that cage until you spawn the Overload Minotaurs. Reason being is because then the Barrier Colossus and the Overload Minotaurs will fight each other. So they're just not really focused on you because they're fighting each other. I do recommend prioritizing the Hobgoblin Snipers before you really worry about any of the champions. the champions can't really kill you from where they currently are, whereas the hobgoblins absolutely can. So we'll kill the barrier colossus, chip away at the minotaurs. Plink, plink, plink. Little explosive crate. Mix in a wither horde here and there. And I think you get like 1 or 2 harpies that spawn on here at some point. Harpy behind us. They don't really hurt all that much. Oh, looks like they spawn behind us and then teleport. I don't really know. I'll just chip away at everything, no problem. Once you got all those enemies dead, you're going to have some wyverns downstairs. This is where I like to let the super go. Tether plus Thunder Crash mops them up nice and easy. Don't get too confident up there on that top platform, because the wyverns still hit pretty hard. And they can absolutely eviscerate you with the splash damage on the ledge, so give them a little, you know, be disciplined when dealing with them. Don't think that you're completely immune being up there. Scavenge a couple ammo bricks, take care of this cube, and that allows us to go ahead and progress forward onto the next section. This area is mostly identical. These next couple packs of enemies, mostly identical to the previous strike. So we just got like, I think it's different enemy type though. I think these enemies used to be Cabal enemies, if I'm not mistaken. Now they're Vex enemies. Position I really like to do is come out on this left side over here. You got 2 hobgoblin snipers right here in the distance, so make sure you take them out because they are scary. That one likes to teleport a little bit. And you got some pretty nasty high ground right there to chip away at everything else. And then you'll have a barrier hobgoblin coming up right here, but you'll also have 2 regular hobgoblins right underneath you, so just be a little careful of them. You actually have 1, and then another one teleports. And I do believe those hobgoblins are snipers, if I'm not mistaken, so definitely worth paying attention to. Once that barrier hobgoblin's dead, you're going to have some packs of overload minotaurs spawn to the left and right. Inside some dome shields, so we'll just shoot at the dome shields to crack them. Mix in a wither horde. Get it on top of that overload minotaur so he's not regenning. Make sure I'm staying on the move so I don't get short-circuited. As you can see so far, the haste modifier has not really caused any complications whatsoever. As long as you're just kind of strafing a little bit as you're in your combat cycles, it doesn't, it's pretty negligible. You're not really going to notice it all that much. You can still play in the back of the map, blink away with the scout rifle and all that good stuff. Not too bad. Once you kill both packs of overload minotaurs, we'll shoot that box up in the sky, and that will give us access to the Drake tanks. And the basic gist with the Drake tank section is you're going to want to inch forward just enough to turn the Cyclopses online, as indicated by they'll kind of raise up a little bit and start looking around, start moving around. And then you absolutely smoke them with the tanks. You can also do your alternate fire to do the, you can do the micro missiles to auto track to things and take all of them out. Most of the regular trash mobs in this section have like the void Bronto cannons, so you do definitely want to take out the trash mobs because they do hurt your tanks quite a bit. Take out the threshers as well if possible as they fly on in. If your tank does get blown up though, it's not the end of the world because they do respawn littered throughout this battlefield. So I'd say take things slow and take things bit by bit. Make sure you're diligent with taking care of all of the enemies, taking out all the Cyclopses right as they spawn, taking out the threshers as they fly in. But if your tank does blow up, it's really not a huge deal because you will be able to get another one. But as you can see here, the game plan is kind of these enemies really love to fly up into the sky, by the way, when you do hit them. Kind of skeet shooting to a certain degree. But always taking care of the threshers. I'm going to try and kill this goblin right here. Got one more. These guys keep spawning. And then inching forward, taking care of the Cyclopses. And like I said, if your tank does blow up, they will respawn inside of this battlefield, so it's you'll be able to get right back in one. You don't have to play super scared. And when it does get to 0 HP, you have plenty of time to hop out of the tank, so the likelihood that you blow up inside of it is very low. So Dusty's tank is blown up right there. So let's see, Dusty, I'm gonna look for the respawn, because one will respawn here in a bit for him. See, so there's Dusty's new tank right there, respawn after about like 5 seconds, maybe 10. So if you do lose the tank, it's all good. So we got 2 wyverns. I think my tank is actually about to blow up here in a second, so I'm gonna hop out of my tank so I don't blow up with it. And there's Dusty actually took my tank, or the tank that respawned when mine blew up. So as you can see, Dusty's already in a new tank. I don't really need to worry too much about going to get a new tank, because that wyvern's pretty much already toast. And then we're going to continue over here. Looks like we've got a Meteors enemy. You could remain in the tank for this section if you wanted to, not a big deal. Then we're going to blow up that box right there, and it's going to give us access to this area through this tiny little choke point. We're going to wait for all these missiles to fall down, though, so we're not dying to any of them. What I like to do is I like to make my team invisible, and then I like to sprint through this tiny choke point. I like to come 90-degree angle to the right. I love to sprint all the way over here, take out that hobgoblin on my way, and I just kind of like to play this back right side. You're pretty darn safe. Right here. So then we'll take out that puppy right there. That's going to give us access to the inside of this area, which will just, you know, lob a Wither Horde, lob a Vortex Grenade, and these guys stand absolutely no match for you when you're shooting at them from above. Name the game is High Ground. So we're just going to take a peek in here, make sure everything's dead, and we're going to touch this plate, which is going to cause some enemies to spawn. Once you see that spawn animation, I recommend hopping back out to the top, because those enemies are going to be supplicants and fanatic goblins that are going to sprint at you and explode and blow you up. So once they're all dead, I'll capture the plate a little bit more, and capturing the plate a little bit more is going to initiate the spawn. Oh god. See what I mean? Capturing the plate a little bit more is going to initiate the spawn of some more enemies. So whenever you see some more enemies spawn, you can just go ahead and hop off of the plate. You're not going to lose any progress on the capture. So you're just kind of capturing the plate a little bit, then you're hopping out, spawn enemies. Or sorry, capturing the plate a little bit, spawn some enemies, hop out, kill the enemies, back on the plate, capture it more. Until eventually you have it captured all the way. Gonna sprint a little bit so we don't take damage from haste. And then once we have that plate captured, we can move on to the other side of the arena and go and capture that plate. Same strategy as before, where we're going to get on top, shoot that guy, so we take out the roof. Usually, this enemy has always been a Drain Bane enemy, this Gladiator, so I don't know if it's guaranteed to be a Drain enemy always, but just a heads up, because it's been every time for us so far. Then we're going to stand on the plate, spawn the fanatics and supplicants, hop out and kill them just to be safe. Dusty is a little more brave than I. So if you want to do what Dusty's doing and staying on the plate and trying to consecrate all of the supplicants, be my guest. Not sure I'd recommend it, but it seems to be working for him, so who's to say, right? Kill that Overload Minotaur, finish the capture of this plate, and then the final plate that we'll have to capture is going to be this one. It's got the cage of Cabal enemies. So we'll take out that guy right there above it. And business as usual. I did have a heavy ammo brick behind me as well, I noticed, so use some heavy ammo for good measure. Got a Meteor Centurion. And same as before with this plate, as we start capturing it, we're going to cause the spawn of some enemies, specifically 2 very large Hydras that are going to spawn in front of us. We're also going to get a couple of Harpies on our left and right eventually as we progress the plate. So I'm going to hop off of the plate, You could theoretically, if you want to, just use permanent invis to capture the plate really quickly. I don't think it's a huge issue to just kind of hang back, blink away at these guys. Since you have anti-barrier on the scout rifle, you can shoot right through the Hydra shield. And of course, Wither Horde, if you stick it on the Hydra shield, still counts as a stick and will do same amount of damage as if you stuck that enemy directly or something. Which is really nice. Love using Wither Horde for Hydras. Makes it so easy to kill them. So there's those Harpies on the left and right that I was alluding to. Take all of those out, and then we can finish off this plate capture. Just keeping my ears open for any additional spawns of enemies. I'm going to run back and go get that heavy brick that I remembered that I had up here. And then once that third plate is captured, we're going to have a couple of platforms spawn that will allow us to get up to the drill section. You'll notice at the top of the drill section as well are going to be a spawn point for some of those baby harpies that try to detain you. So just know that as you make your way up here and get a little close, you are going to spawn them. Be a little careful. And you are going to have a couple enemies right here. My teammates already dispatched them. It's just like a couple of enemies, nothing super crazy, but yeah. These lasers you can crouch right under, and then these lasers don't really, they're the same layout every single time, so you just kind of fall down. What's new about this section, so we're going to start the hack real quick. What's new about this section, which is really, really neat, is it's got this back area now that you can hang out in, which honestly makes this area significantly easier than it used to be, in my opinion. You will have enemies push you while you're on this section, supplicants, minotaurs, stuff like that. But as long as I highly recommend the way you approach this is you have at least one guardian watching each lane, if that makes sense, so that you know that nothing's like sneaking up on you. So if I had comms with my teammates right now, which I unfortunately do not because we're recording this, I would say, hey guys, there's a minotaur pushing us. It's creeping up. He's coming for us. Beware. But I don't have comms with my teammates, so they are none the wiser. But that's all good. The Drain Bane enemies are brutal. I'm honestly inclined to maybe tether this one. If you ever see a Drain, if you see a Drain enemy in this section, just immediately super it. I'm not even kidding. The Drain enemies are that dangerous. They're more dangerous than literally any champion. So he is dead, thank God. I'll get the homies up. And as you can see, the download progress is already at 100% for this objective. So now all we have to do is mop up all of the enemies. So we're just going to take our sweet time, blink away at them with our scout rifles and our wish ender. Litter some wither hordes in. And here, you'll notice you have a heavy ammo crate. It is a max ammo heavy ammo crate, so it'll get your special ammo and your heavy ammo to 100%. I highly recommend saving that for the end of this area and going pretty crazy with your heavy ammo in this area as a result, because you know that you're going to go back to 100% heavy at the end of this section. So feel free to let the heavy rip, use it on stuff that you wouldn't normally use it on. You can use it on some supplicants and stuff like that, because try and kill that barrier. Go grab TJ. I don't have any Wither Horde ammo right now. You want to make sure, though, as well, with this heavy ammo case, that you and your teammates are all very much on the same page when it comes to the heavy ammo crate. Because once one person pulls the heavy ammo crate, the rest of the team will have only 15 seconds to also get the heavy ammo crate. So, just a heads up. Don't want to pull it without notifying the team, because then they're not going to realize that it got pulled and they're going to get screwed out of it. So, just slowly but surely and safely taking out all of these enemies from a distance. until eventually you get that defeat the Vex notification on the left side of your screen. All checked. And now, since we have objective complete, we can say to the team, like, okay, guys, let's get the heavy ammo crate. You'll see it gives me max special and max heavy, which is important for this upcoming section. We're going to want to try to avoid using heavy for this upcoming, these next two upcoming areas as much as possible, so that we go into the boss room with maximum heavy ammo if we can. Also, when you're jumping down to this section, be very, very careful. Make sure you stay high on your jump because of that drill right there. So if you kind of like jump low, that drill is going to clock you. So make sure from this platform to this platform, you stay high on your jump. I definitely know that just from observation, and not because I died to that drill in a previous run doing exactly what I'm telling you to be aware of not doing. So for this area, we've got a couple champions. I think it's one Overload Minotaur, one Barrier Hobgoblin. Nothing crazy. We're just going to blink away from a distance, move a little bit to get rid of that haste debuff. And then as you inch up, be very, very careful, because to the right side across the river, you've got some laser beam harpies. So make sure you take good care of those, because they will hurt quite a bit. Want to make sure to deal with the champions from long range first, and then inch up to deal with those sniper harpies after you kill all those champions. Then got another spawn of the baby harpies that are going to detain us. Then we're going to hop into this area. We're going to have a couple miscellaneous harpies. We'll have a Hydra. Pop a Wither Horde on him. Got the stick. So it should be pretty easy to kill. And then we've got an Overload Minotaur and a Elite Minotaur. So we're going to blink away at these guys. Get a Wither Horde on him. And once you have these two enemies dead, I recommend for this section that you, as if you're playing the Invis Hunter, whoever the Invis Hunter is on your team, I recommend that your other players just hang out right here. Because for this area, there are 0 champions, but there's like 6 Cyclopses, and they're very, 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 very dangerous. And you could, if you wanted to, you could slowly make your way through and dodge all the drills and try and plink away at the Cyclopses as you make your way through. Or, since there's no champions, you can just get past the section and still get platinum, you can just send your Invis Hunter through to run past all of them and pull your teammates to the boss room. Now, the way you'll do that, or at least the way I like to do it, is I'll run all the way down here. Once I get to about this rock, I'm going to hit my Shadow Dive, which with Echo of Persistence gives me 10 seconds of invisibility. And then I'm going to run up to this Cyclops, hit a dodge next to it, so that I get my smoke grenade charge back. Obviously, you're playing around the drills as well. Hit another dive, run past these fanatics, hit another dive, and we're through. Still get platinum, no champions in that area, so you're good. Now, the reason I previously said that after you pull that heavy ammo crate from the drill, you should try to avoid using any heavy ammo possible, that's only applicable to the players that are not running through. If you were the player running through, you actually get a rally banner right before you start this. So you plant that if you're the Invis Hunter and get your max heavy ammo. But the players that hung back and are going to get pulled do not have the luxury of getting that ammo. But if they're still at max heavy ammo from the crate that they just pulled, doesn't really matter. You're going to plink away at one of the harpies until it pulls both of your teammates. And then once your teammates are here, then we can kill the harpies and begin the fight. This fight, honestly, is a situation of just stay moving around the arena and stay away from the boss and try and burn him as quickly as you can. Use heavy, use supers, use Wither Horde, use all that. Your responsibility as the Invis Omnioculus Hunter is to just make sure that you never die. So if you get into a dangerous position, if you see your teammates go down, anything like that, just immediately go Invis, try and make your other teammates Invis if you're able to, and just play your life until you get your other friends up. We're not really going to worry about the ads too much, because as the Invis Omnioculus Hunter, you're unkillable. So, we're just going to weave Wither Hordes in between our invisibility, let our teammates do as much DPS as they can, and if they end up going down, they have you to res them, all good. Once he spawns right here, for this area, you're pretty safe playing in this back area as long as you stay on the move to not get impacted by haste. And you can burn him pretty quick. This is why we brought those grenade launchers. Only thing to keep an eye out for, we didn't actually get to see it because we burnt him so quickly, but these platforms will light on fire. Whenever you see the orange platform, just make sure you jump so you're good from there. We're going to smoke this pack of ads right here. You're going to have a Bane, so make sure you kill him really quickly, especially if it's a rather scary Bane. Try to save supers if you can. This area, we're actually going to take a little bit slow, because honestly, the boss isn't that much of a threat when he's in this form. All you have to do is make sure that you're kind of rotating around the arena and rotating away from the boss. And we're just going to clean up all of the trash mobs that spawn. There's going to be some Harpies. There's going to be some Fanatics. They're all telegraphed spawns as well, so you can see exactly where they're going to come from. Some Harpies in the air that have arc shields, so if someone brought an arc shielded scout rifle, that goes massive here. Again, your job as the Invis Omnioculus Hunter is staying alive. If you have a Well of Radiance, now is a great time to use it. But we're just going to kind of run around, keep our distance from the boss, make sure we always have an eye on where the boss is, and take care of all of the ads. We're just going to plink away at all of them. Once every single one of the ads is dead, we're just going to we're going to chip away at the boss. Or, if you want, you can go for the burn here. When the boss loses his head and he goes to his frenzy mode, indicating that he is willing to come onto the platform now, that is where you rip the Thunder Crash, you rip the Tether, you unload your GLs, you dump every single bullet of ammo you have on him, and you absolutely fry him. Doesn't have a crazy amount of HP. If you have a Thunder Crash, it's an absolute cakewalk. If everyone's running GLs that match up with Surges or Rockets that match up with Surges, I prefer GLs to Rockets a little bit personally, just because they're significantly more forgiving if you miss a shot. If you miss a Rocket, that's your entire DPS gone, whereas if you miss 1 or 2 shots of the GL, you still got another 6 in the bank. But that's how I like to play that GM. 29-minute clear time, like I said, it's a bit of a lengthier GM. And it's definitely a lot tougher than it used to be. But with those strategies, not really that bad at all, in my personal opinion, as long as you got the Omnioculus Hunter to skip a couple of the harder sections, Omnioculus Hunter to guarantee that the team doesn't wipe in the boss room, and you got the supers and heavy weapon selections to be able to burn the boss at the necessary times. So, hope you found this guide helpful. If you did, please consider liking the video and maybe even subscribing to the channel if you want to see future guides. Thank you so much for watching. Stop by the Twitch stream if you want to rock and roll with us, or join the Discord server below if you need teammates to play it with. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a great day.